everybody. Welcome back to GamePlan 2024, where your coaching dreams become reality. I've assembled a squad of awe-inspiring speakers to fuel your coaching business with top-tier strategies and boundless inspiration. Just like a coach who fine-tunes a winning strategy, I've created this event to equip you with game-changing insights, resources, and that all-important dose of encouragement. So what our extraordinary guests have achieved shows what is possible for you too. So let's talk action, because remember, implementation beats information any day. So here's your challenge. Uncover one takeaway you're excited to put into play, and then come into the group, share your completion date, and let the magic of teamwork and accountability propel you to victory. Get ready to level up your coaching game, because today I've got Eva Medilek with me. Hey Eva, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, Liz. And it's pronounced Eva for our viewers. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. And I'd already checked with you. My only apology is it's early and my brain's still got to wake up.
I understand, no worries.
Alrighty, so Eva is a certified high-performance coach, international speaker, and #1 best-selling author. She works with men and women in the areas of high performance, personal development, leadership, creating inclusive environments, and mastering habits for success. Eva specializes in helping busy entrepreneurs create successful businesses even while working their day jobs. She shows you how to generate the energy needed to reverse the burnout and overwhelm you experience from trying to do it all. She uses her personal experiences along with her leadership, relationship, and high performance training to teach you how to be on your A game at home, at work, and in your communities. And what we're going to be discussing today is success without sacrifice, how to advance your career without sacrificing your personal life. Thank you, Eva. Eva, see, I just want to say Eva. I don't know why my brain...
That certainly sounds much better when you say Eva. I might change my name. I like it.
Oh, dearie me. So before we get started and talk about how we're going to create this success, why don't you tell us all a little bit more about you, your business, and how you got started and got to where you are today?
Well, I was born in a log cabin. No, I'm not going to go that far back. But seriously, in 2010, I had a really good job as a dental hygienist, that I had held that position for over 30 years. But I was also newly married, and on my second marriage, when I was preparing for my 50th birthday trip to Mexico. And my boss actually called me into her office to tell me that I was being downsized to part-time and my salary was being reduced. And that really knocked me for a loop at that age. But then I thought, sometimes the universe gives you a reason and an opportunity to dream bigger. But we get so comfortable sometimes being miserable that we put our dreams off because we think we have time.
Yes.
Right. And then we have excuse after excuse after excuse as to now is not the right time. We don't have enough time right now. We have these dreams, right? And but sometimes we need a kick in the butt. And so that kick in the butt can either be with your health or your finances or your relationships, anything. And what I noticed was that people wait for a life-changing event before they change their lives. And for me, the kick in the butt was finances, the threat of not having my salary anymore, being the main breadwinner. And it inspired me to never be in a position like that again. And that's when I decided to become an entrepreneur. And I went full on high achieving in my entrepreneurship. Well, high achieving doesn't necessarily mean high performing, and there is a distinction. So what I mean by that is, like most of us, while I was working hard to have it all, I was also doing it all. So I was working my job as a dental hygienist. I had found a supplemental job, so it added up to full-time work. I also decided to build a real estate investment business. So I invested, Liz, probably about $45,000 of money I did not have to get trained in how to run a successful real estate investment company. And I'll just say, side note, the best investment I ever made was in myself and in my knowledge, and hiring coaches and mentors to help me along the way.
Yeah.
But I was also a wife, a mom, and a daughter of aging parents. I was doing all the cooking, the shopping, the laundry, all of it. And I was also working my day job, building a business, trying to be everything to all the people in my life. I thought I was Superwoman.
Yeah.
So I became burnt out, stressed out, overwhelmed, and exhausted all the time. And I'm sure we've got some super women listening and watching this right now. And what happened was my health was affected. I don't know about you, but when I'm exhausted and burnt out, it just lands in my neck and my shoulders and my back.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my well-being was affected. And what that meant was, like, I was constantly in a bad mood and cranky because I was tired and exhausted all the time. And I was also one of those people where you would call up and say, hey, how's it going? Good, but I'm really busy. Good but busy. Good but busy.
Yes.
That was me. Busy was a badge of honor that I wore
Yes.
really proudly, and it made me feel important. But the kicker was, my relationship with my husband was affected. You know, we became short, snippy, and impatient, like prickly with each other. But I always had this thought in my head, like a lot of busy folks do, right? We have time.
Yes.
As soon as the business gets to a certain level, as
Yes.
soon as we make a certain amount of money, as soon as we have all of these properties, then we'll work on our relationship and spending more quality time together.
Mm.
I call it as soon as disease, and I think
Yes.
we've all had it, but
Yes.
I have the vaccination for it if you're interested. But here's how as soon as showed up for me. I realized that my marriage was in deep trouble when I discovered my husband's infidelity.
Oh,
And in that moment, I knew I could lose everything I was working so hard for. Like, how many of us have said, I'm working this hard for my spouse or my family or my kids and for our future. And yet we're spending very little time with the people that we claim we're working so hard for. And
yeah.
so that was a second life-changing event for me, if you will, that kicked me in the butt, because I realized I had to own the responsibility for what was happening in my marriage.
Yeah.
And, you know, you ask how I got to do what I'm doing today. I realized I wasn't prioritizing what mattered most to me. I was prioritizing success in business. I was prioritizing my job, and I was putting my health and my relationships on the back burner. And that's when I discovered high performance. I discovered that for me to show up on my A game in my health, in my relationships, in my business, you know, in it for my mood to show up happy and healthy and vibrant and not be a successful, miserable person, I had to move from high achieving to high performing. And it so affected the results that I was getting in my life, and, you know, how my husband and I really worked hard to build a new relationship, me as a high performer and showing up and being a role model for him and what that looked like. I realized that I get to help other people with this. My husband said one thing to me, you know, when we were in the midst of the dirty parts of the breakdown, right? He said, we were just coming on the other side, and he said to me, you've got to help other people the way you help me.
Beautiful. Yeah. Because it's a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I so resonate with that. I called it destination happiness. I'll be happy when.
And
And what you lose sight of when you constantly focus on the when is the now. And like you say, when you're saying these things are a priority and this is why I'm doing the other things, you realize at some point, and I think this is where perhaps being a little older gives you a little more wisdom, that the destination is never reached and you sacrifice the now for a future you didn't actually get. And for me, I see it with a lot of my clients as well, where they are taught to focus on, because we all want the same thing, right? When we're building out businesses and even successful careers, it is the drive to be seen, to be recognized, that comes with impact, that comes with responsibility. But more importantly, the measurement, the bar we use is our income. And then for those who are working on their own businesses, clients. And yet there's such poor metrics in the early stages, because they are the things that are a result of high performance habits. So this is what I can't wait to dig in with you, because no matter what you're doing, building your own business, going up the career ladder, trying to be the wife, the mother, the person that does it all, you can easily lose sight of what's important. So let's dig in there. And I know you call it your A game. Now, a lot of, how can I phrase this correctly? Because I was one of these when I had a career, in terms of corporate career. You know, when you prioritize jobs, what do we call that? Workaholics.
Workaholics. Yes, 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 yes.
Workaholics will tell you, I am in my A game. I am
Mm,
doing an exceptional job. The rest of their life is falling apart. Mine was.
yeah.
But we're doing our A game. So I want you to clarify, when you say your A game, what you mean.
Well, A game means performing consistently at your highest and best level at home, at work, and in your communities, and towards yourself as well. I
Yes.
think it's well, that's four, so it wouldn't be the trifecta, but you know, whatever it is. I mean, I don't think that you can call yourself successful if your home life is miserable, no matter how many billions of dollars you have.
I agree.
It means all of it is working holistically and synergistically together, and you're fully present in your life. You're experiencing the joy of life and not just the material rewards of life. And so if you're, fighting with your spouse all the time, or your partner, and your kids aren't getting along, and your house is in chaos, that to me is not being on your A game. That is not being a high performer. If your health is in the crapper, you're not a high performer. And I'm not talking about things that are beyond our control, but what we can control, the amount of sleep we get, the types of food we put in our bodies, how we take care of this body that we've been so beautifully gifted with, how we show love and respect. And I think real gratitude for life, really boils down to time management. How do you manage your time? How do you have time for what matters most to you? And you know what? For some people, it is the job that matters most to them. And I'm not here to make anybody wrong for that. But if there are other people in your life that you care about and that matter to you, there's no such thing as an equal work-life balance. So we're not even going to go into that realm. But how do you prioritize what's important to you when it's important? And so what it looks like on a Sunday looks different on a Wednesday.
Yeah. And I love the way that you describe the A game, so that it's not just in one facet, it's across all areas. And I think everybody here would understand and accept that they know, deep down, they know if something's out of balance or something isn't at that A game. But I'm curious, so this work-life balance that is touted everywhere that you said, tell me more about what your thoughts on that are.
Well, I mean, look at a scale, all right? If you look at a scale, this is balanced, equal side, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the number on the scale when it's balanced?
0. Yeah.
Exactly. And is that what you're really striving for? Zero success, zero success in your relationships, in your health, all of that. When I use the term work-life balance, I mean boundaries. I mean, clearly communicating your boundaries. Today, family, I'm working on a project and I need to put in some extra hours to get that done. And I need everybody's help and support in getting that done. I may not be down to dinner on time, or I may need to have dinner a little later, or I can't cook tonight. Can you handle dinner? Can you pick up the kids?
Yeah.
That's one. The flip side of that was, hey, work, hey, clients, hey, people, my child, my spouse, my partner has a big event that's important to me to be at. So I'll have to say no to X, Y, and Z because this is important to me in the moment. You might have to say to a client, no, I'm not available for you after 7 p.m. You know, that's my time with my family.
Yeah.
And no, I cannot do this at this time because sleep is a priority to me. I have a big event next week. And so me getting 8 hours of sleep, it's going to look like this. Your
Yeah.
balance is going to be moving
Yes.
depending upon what your priority is each day, each week, each month, each quarter, each year. And it only works when you clearly communicate it. I'll share a quick story with you. You know, I have a home office, which I think a lot of people do.
Yes.
And I see my clients on Zoom because they're all over the world. But I also have a real estate investment company. And prior to 2020, all of the paperwork and files and folders for that company were in in my office. One of the things that I had to let go of, because we'll talk about this later, but success is about letting things go too, and not holding on to everything, was control of the real estate portion of the business and managing that business so that I could focus on my coaching clients. So I handed the business to my husband, which for a control freak and a perfectionist was shock therapy. Like, oh my God, I'm giving up control of something that I built. But I knew it was important for me to show trust in him, allow him to grow into it, and for me to have the spaciousness I need to serve my clients on my A game. Okay.
Yes.
And so when I would be with a client or on an interview, I'd have the door closed. When he needed something real estate related, he would just knock on the door and open. And I would be like, I'd have this, like, can't you see the doors closed? And then I thought to myself, Eva, he felt he was doing the right thing by knocking.
Yeah.
He didn't just barge in.
Yeah.
You have to clearly communicate what a closed door means for you.
Yes, I love that. Yeah.
And so I said to him, honey, you know, when I have my door closed, you may not realize this. I'll only close it when I'm in a confidential meeting with a client or doing a podcast or an interview that's being recorded. So even you knocking is interrupting. And I know you're doing that out of kindness. How about this? Tell me what you think of this. When the doors close, you know, the recording light is on, if you will, in the studio. But if I leave it ajar or open,
Yeah.
then that's okay for you to come in and like that. And he was like, oh, okay, cool, fine. You know, like he had no issue with it.
Yeah.
I didn't communicate it.
Yes.
I was getting my panties in a twist because he didn't read my mind.
Yes. And I think, that was definitely an awakening for me, because what I would find, I have this little saying, your thoughts create your feelings create your actions, and your actions create your results. And that's exactly what I was finding, not just with my partner, but with other people around me, is that my expectation, which is my thoughts, was that they would immediately understand what I was doing, why I was doing it, what was going on, and the rules of my game without me having to verbally communicate it to them. And so no wonder I was, like you mentioned right at the beginning, grumpy and frustrated and annoyed and because I had never stopped to communicate clearly. So I love that. Yeah, I really resonate to that.
And I mean, we are responsible to expressing what we need.
Yes.
And here's why. And, it reminds me of when my children were really little. They're in their 30s now.
Yeah.
And I would get these massive migraines, which thank God, since I became a high performer, I maybe once a year I'll get one as opposed to every month. And I remember telling the children that you have to be really quiet. Mommy has a headache. She's going to be laying down in a dark room. And Liz, 10 minutes into it, I hear one of them, I don't know which one, and I thought, bless their hearts. That was them protecting my boundary. Yes, the volume was turned up on max, but apparently one was making noise with a toy and the other one, since I communicated the boundary clearly,
Yes.
was trying to protect my boundary. And the point I want to make with that little story is, when we communicate our needs and why to the people who care about us, who are our support system, they are going to be the gatekeepers for us. We don't have to do it.
Yes.
They're going to say, you know what? Liz can't talk to you right now. She's working on blah, blah, but she's writing her book.
Yeah.
And she's not going to be out of her office until 7 p.m. tonight. And I know that she's going to be tired. I'm going to make her dinner and she's going to go to bed. When is a good time for her to get back to you? You don't have to be the guard. The more you communicate it, people will know it and they'll respect it.
Yeah.
And if they don't, well, then that's an opportunity for a different type of conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love that. And I think setting boundaries is something that, particularly for those who are perhaps plate overflowing with what they feel are responsibilities that they're juggling, that is the quickest, fastest way to actually buy more time back, because you get very focused and you get very clear. And I know that you have a really good advice for, well, how do you figure out where to focus and where to put your energy if you want to have that A game across all parameters? So do you want to talk about that a bit?
One of my favorite quotes is from the author of the Badass book series, Jen Sincero.
Yes.
Time comes to those who make it, not
Yes.
to those who try and find it. And so what I heard you say is, most of us with our plates running over, it's not that we don't have time. The problem is that we don't have clarity around how to spend our time and how to use our time effectively. And so one of the things that I invite people to do is to let go, right? Sometimes if you want to get healthy, you actually don't get healthy. You have to let go what's keeping you from getting healthier, that's making you unhealthy. So if you want to get healthy, have healthy lungs, you might have to quit smoking.
Yeah.
Right? And when we look at things in our lives, we want more time. What do I need to give up, delegate, let go of? That's not focused on my priority at this time. I mean, none of it may be forever. Like maybe you stop watching Netflix for a week while you get the first draft of your book going. Does that mean you've given up Netflix for life? No, but your priority is the book, if you will. Pardon me. Yes. And so when we're looking at how we become clear or become a high performer, I always call it, a CPR, if you will, because I love acronyms. And the first letter, C, is to be clear on what you want and what makes you happy. Look at where you're unhappy in your life or business. Ask yourself, are you living in alignment to what's important to you? For example, like most of us say that our family is the most important thing in our lives. My family. Yes. But you're living as if your job or career is, or if your health is the most important thing in your life. Maybe you're eating foods that don't digest well for your system or cause you to hold on to extra weight or not feel energized, if you will. And so that vision that you have for your life, does it match your reality today? And so these are important questions that you get to ask yourself when you're seeking clarity. Yeah. And once you're clear on what that vision you have for your life, you've got to establish clear priorities. Yeah. So that's the key. because studies show when your priorities aren't clear, you're up to 30 times more likely to miss out on success.
Wow.
And
I didn't know
how
that statistic.
yeah, and you know how we spend our time and our money and our energy is a direct reflection of our values. We don't have time to blah blah blah, but we're checking our Instagram and our
Yeah.
TikTok and our whatever, you know, every day. And I did this. I was doing an interview earlier. Do you know? I'm going to do a little math with you today. If you spend 2 hours a day on social media, unintentional 2 hours a day on social media or TV, that is, let's just say 60 hours a month, 720 hours a year, divided by 720 hours per year. So how many hours in a day? Divided by 24?
Mhm.
That's 30 days.
A whole
30 days a year. That's a whole month
month.
that if focused on your priorities, what could you achieve in a
Yeah.
whole month? And
Yeah.
so we've got to kind of think about it as
Yes.
simple as math equation and facts. And we all know that most people spend more than 2 hours a day on this,
Yeah.
on the rabbit hole of social media.
Yeah.
And then the third they are was owning the responsibility of creating and setting boundaries. Because honestly, we make poor choices by saying yes to everything so that we please everyone around us. And that's where we end up overcommitted.
Yeah.
And so without boundaries, we don't know safety. So we have to support the structure, you know, set it, support it, communicate it effectively, because no one's a mind reader. And this is going to help you create that balance you need for your own priorities, goals, and values.
Mm. Oh, I love that CPR because I think that in a nutshell is it. I have something called proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance, which is the 7 Ps
Oh,
of
wow. Say that 3 times fast.
yeah, I probably can. 7 Ps of project management. And it literally is another way of saying CPR. Because yeah, but I really love that statistic. I often talk about you've got 2018 working hours in a year. Where are you focusing it? Because we can spend so much time on things that don't move the needle. So yeah, that's powerful. I'm just conscious of time, and I know that you've got a wonderful gift to give everybody today. And Eva's contact details are below, along with this gift, as always, so make sure to grab it. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think it's a really cool one, this one.
Well, this is kind of the blueprint I use
Yeah.
to win my day so that I have control of my day. My day doesn't get control of me. And so the free gift is called Win Every Day. And they're basically really easy, actionable success habits that you can implement immediately to boost your clarity, improve your focus, productivity, and create the energy you need to be living your best life now, to be optimizing your life. And so everything that's in this guide is something that you can do every single day and implement immediately.
Yeah, I love that. So grab that just below. Now, a question I ask all of my guests is if you were to leave our viewers with something they could go off and do in the next 24 to 48 hours that you know would help move them forward, what would that be?
It would be creation before consumption. Ooh, what does that mean?
Mm.
When you wake up in the morning, do not go in your inbox and start putting out everybody else's false emergencies. What you want to do is get clear the night before on the first things you need to do to move your business, your projects, your priorities forward. And you do that the first hour of the day or the first hour you sit at your desk before you start responding to everyone else's requests, needs, emergencies that they need from you. because
Yeah.
then you're responding to their priorities and not your own.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That was something I was incredibly guilty of when I worked as a program manager. You'd wake up and check to see what everybody else's drama was.
So
Before
no,
got
you create what you need to create for
Yes.
yourself. Get that
Yes,
big thing
I love
off your plate first, because
Yeah.
when you get sucked into everyone else's, it's going to be the end of the day and you haven't done your thing yet.
Yes. Yes. Love it. Thank you very much, Eva. Any
Very
final
welcome.
thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Oh, no, I just wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve your community and everyone else's community that may be joining this, because sometimes we make things to be out to be a bigger deal than they need to be. And I have to tell you from my personal experience, the amount of relief that I feel not trying to do everything myself
Yes.
has been immensely, and prioritizing. When my husband comes to me with a real estate problem, I'm like, let me check my calendar to see when I have time to talk about that with you. That need that I always had to drop everything and respond to people is gone, and the guilt around it is gone too. And once you can master that, you'll be able to focus on your needle moving activities with so much grace, space, and ease.
Yeah, and I really do think that is a golden recipe, because we as coaches can fall into the trap of prioritizing our clients in a way that does start to impact what we are doing. So that's why I'm going to use the word balance, and it's the wrong word. You've educated me better, but that's why I think it is so important to have those clear boundaries and to understand what you're doing and why, and communicate it effectively, which you've beautifully taken us through today. So I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody for joining us. Be sure to tune into our other interviews for more information, valuable advice, inspiration for wherever you are on your coaching journey. Until next time, take care, everybody. Thanks, Eva.
Bye.